Hi, good evening, Superintendent Bonda and school board directors. My name is Terry Ota, and I'm a parent of two students at Arbor Heights Elementary. I have a daughter that's in first grade and another daughter that's in kindergarten, and also a prospective student in our family, a son who is 2 years old. And the reason I'm here tonight is to urge you to move up the timeline for Arbor Heights to be rebuilt from the proceeds of the BEX IV levy that is being currently considered by the board and going to be presented to the voters in February. We simply can't wait till 2019, which is when the school is currently projected to be rebuilt. Our building is 64 years old. It's rated the worst building in the district, scoring I think 4.2 out of 5 for educational adequacy. But really my concern is that because of the state of the building and the current uncertainty as far as when Arbor Heights would be rebuilt is currently having an effect already on the enrollment at our school. And this is really concerning to me as a parent, as a community member of West Seattle. You know, we chose to send our children to Seattle Public Schools because we really wanted them to have a public school education. Both my husband and I are graduates of the public schools back in Hawaii, and we found that it's just a wonderful community at Arbor Heights of teachers, our principal who is here, and just the parent involvement is really fantastic. And I'm concerned that with the uncertainty surrounding our building, that's already having a negative effect. And this is really tragic in my mind, and I'm just asking that you support our children at Arbor Heights and support this fantastic community, many of whom are here tonight to speak in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Olson. Ann Dunbar, followed by Rosalind Shea and Amie Christensen.
Good evening, Superintendent Bonda and School Board Directors. I'm Ann Dunbar, and I'm speaking as both a parent and a teacher from Arbor Heights School. I'd like to start by thanking Mr. Bonda for visiting our school in May, and we look forward to visiting our school again. As a West Seattle community, we're troubled by the difficulties we have planning and providing for students to have optimal school facilities in our cluster. At Arbor Heights, starting 4 years ago, we were on the school closure list, and we spent a lot of energy advocating to remain open as a neighborhood school. 3 years ago, we initiated the Spectrum program with very little funding from the district. We hope that this program will grow our school, thus bringing more funding into our facility, but the district has a capped enrollment. Last year, we advocated for a new computer lab to replace our outdated and obsolete lab. Our new lab has given us a great point of pride and generated a lot of excitement among our students and given us a positive selling point for a school, so that's great. But we've also spent time last year campaigning to become part of the BEX IV levy for a rebuild. The first proposal had our school slated for being rebuilt in 2017. Now it's 2019, 7 years from now. That's a whole other cycle of children going through our building. That's far too long to wait. Please make the immediate rebuild of Arbor Heights School a priority on the BEX levy. When you rebuild a school, you strengthen the heart of your community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dunbar.
Good evening, Rosalind Shea, parent of two students at Arbor Heights, ceding my time to Alyssa Weaver.
Hello. I brought some pictures for you from my classroom, but I want to describe them to you before I give them to you. Last spring, the water heater pipe broke in the closet. Well, it didn't break, it rusted through completely. And for an hour and 45 minutes, I had a flood in my classroom. The water was coming directly from the boiler. It was hot. My students were in the room at this time. There was no option. They were there. As you can see in here, the IA is working to keep the water at bay while my kids are on the other side of the room. It took 3 adults working nonstop for an hour and 45 minutes to keep the water from flooding the class. The two amazing IAs used Safeway grocery bags to direct it out my classroom door into the hallway, where the janitor stood with one of those 3-foot squeegees and pushed it out the emergency doors outside. It was hot. This was not safe for my students. And they, of course, there was no instruction during this because they all sat there and, oh, the water, you can play in it. It was rusty, it was stinky, it was hot. It felt like a sauna in the classroom. So I'm going to leave these with you. We really need the building redone. I am in the oldest part of the building. I'm not in the portables in the back. I'm in one of the original classrooms that was built when the school was built. In the past, I've had tile pop up, and I brought that as well. It took months for it to get replaced. I put butcher paper down so the kids wouldn't play with the broken tiles. Please consider our school. It's an amazing place. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Amie Christensen, followed by Lori Goodwin and Stacy Heart.
I'm Amie Christensen. I'll be ceding my time to Lynn Soldier.
Good evening, Superintendent Bonda and school board directors. My name is Lynn Soldier. I am an Arbor Heights resident, a former parent, and a current teacher. Thank you, Superintendent Bonda, for touring Arbor Heights in May. Arbor Heights has been described as an aging building, but we call it aging. The district's goal is to do away with portables. We would like to point out that Arbor Heights has 15 portables which were installed in 1952 and have become a permanent part of our building. This space has created a long, dark hallway, and it's very difficult to even see from one end to the other. I have taught in several of these portables over my 25 years at Arbor Heights. These rooms are often without heat in the winter due to our poorly functioning boiler. On warm days, as we've experienced recently, my room has been 90 degrees. Several years ago, I had a student with leukemia. We were having mold problems. It was cold. There was standing water underneath the portable I was teaching in. Finally, after her parents and her doctors wrote a letter to the school district, a superintendent showed up at my room with space heaters. As soon as we plugged them in, it blew the fuses. So we were able to have one space heater going, which didn't help the condition much. Extremely cold or extremely hot rooms are not conducive to good health or good learning. We all know that wine and cheese improve with age. School buildings do not. Please move us up on the BEX levy to be one of the first schools replaced. Thank you.
Lori Goodwin, Stacy Heart, and Elsie Olson.
Hi, my name's Lori Goodwin, and I live just a few streets over from the Arbor Heights Elementary. My daughter's only 3. She's in preschool. She'll be a prospective kindergartner in 2014. As a community member, I've heard a lot of great things about Arbor Heights, with the new elementary teacher, the new Spectrum program, and the multi-age classrooms. People are really happy with the school as a community, with the parent involvement. I also, being able to walk to school was a huge reason that we actually bought the house that we wound up buying. Unfortunately, I've been following the news about the condition of the building, and for us, the state of that building is literally just a deal breaker for us. And at this point, our plan is to look at another school for my daughter, whether that's a private school or an option school. And the reason is that my daughter has pretty bad allergies. She has dust allergies, the highest level that you can have, animal dander allergies, rat and cat, at the highest level that you can have those allergies. And what this leads to with her is not just some sneezing, it's full-on chronic eczema. So when you look at her, her hands are bright red and she's scratching all the time. Whenever she gets into an environment where she's challenged, whether that's dust from sitting in upholstery or whether it's mold or particles in the air, she starts to scratch, she gets very distressed, her eyes start to run, she sneezes, she can't concentrate, she gets hot and she gets upset. So I mean, the problem is that if she doesn't have access to water to keep herself hydrated, and if she doesn't have the ability to wash her hands all the time, there's just no way that I can put her in that environment. It's my time spent in that school has convinced me that there's just really no option for us as a family, and that we're going to have to look elsewhere unless we can put her into a building that we feel is safe. So I encourage you to move the timeline forward for the rebuild.
Thank you, Ms. Stacy Heart, Elsie Olson, and Amie excuse me.
Good evening, Superintendent Bonda and school board members. My name is Stacy Heart, and I'm happy to be a parent of a second grader at Arbor Heights Elementary. 2.5 years ago, after touring Arbor Heights as an incoming kindergarten parent, I could not have imagined standing here saying that to you. Yes, I had heard about the wonderfully engaged Arbor Heights community, and I tried to embrace it as our neighborhood school, but when faced with the reality of the facility's extremely poor condition, I applied to other schools. We didn't get in anywhere else, so we ended up at Arbor Heights. Since that time, we've had the opportunity to enroll at Thurgood Marshall, and yes, even got offered a spot at Lafayette. But we stayed at Arbor Heights in spite of the building because of what's inside the building. My son is happy, he's connected, he loves school. I credit Arbor Heights' vibrant team of educators and devoted staff, and in particular, the leadership of our principal who has worked tirelessly on behalf of our students. I see all of this now because we stayed, but parents coming in to visit us for the first time cannot appreciate this. They can't see it. Arbor Heights lost 35 kindergartners this past summer, an entire classroom. Our principal reached out to those families to find out why they chose to leave Arbor Heights. An overwhelming majority cited the condition of the building as a deal breaker for them. As more and more families leave Arbor Heights, as enrollment dwindles, we lose funding. We lose programs that are meant to draw people in, that our students need to succeed, and that will put them on a level playing field as they enter into middle and high school alongside students from other West Seattle schools. Speaking to your top 2 stated priorities for the levy, I respectfully ask you to consider the possibility that you are creating capacity issues at other schools in West Seattle by not investing equally in all schools. Further, I ask you to address the health and safety issues inherent in a facility that's been rated the worst in the district. Arbor Heights can't wait until 2019 and beyond. We ask that the district invest in our students today. Thank you.
Elsie Olson, Ann Burry, and Christian Pearson.
Good evening. My name is Elsie Olson. I'm a parent at Arbor Heights, and I will be speaking my spot to students.
Good evening, Superintendent Bonda and the rest of you wonderful people, school board directors. My name is Sue Holmes. I am a former Arbor Heights parent, a current teacher, as well as a community member. We also want to thank you, Superintendent Bonda, for visiting us last year. It's still the talk of the school, so you made quite the dent. Recently, I attended a BEX IV meeting at Madison Middle School, and there were a number of us there that evening. We were shown a PowerPoint about all the wonderful things the district has done and the wonderful improvements that they've accomplished. The more I watched that PowerPoint, the more disillusioned I became. I saw teachers and students just so excited about how wonderful their new buildings and their new improvements were. And a teacher remarked that her students knew that the district cared about them and that they really appreciated them because look at all the wonderful things the district has done for us. Well, I thought about that and I thought, what does that say about us? Apparently, it doesn't say much for Arbor Heights. The district has said that they have a priority on safety, a safe educational setting for students. Arbor Heights is not that. The buildings that we saw in the PowerPoint were really nice buildings. Arbor Heights is not that. You've heard that by other people. In fact, it's really not a safe building. I've been a member of our safety committee for a number of years. Over the years, we've talked about the things that we need to have done, and we haven't seen the improvements.
So please help us out and come to our aid when you vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holt. Ann Burry, followed by Christian Pearson and Dana Farn.
I'm Ann Burry, a parent at Arbor Heights, and I'm ceding my spot to Marcia.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am Marcia Angerstedt. I am a proud first grade teacher at Arbor Heights. I am also a former parent of 2 children at Arbor Heights, who are now adults. One who owns a house 3 blocks from the school, so at some point my grandchildren may be going there. So, in my classroom, I teach my students to wait patiently. I teach them that their turn will come. They come to count on the fact that there will be equity in how materials are distributed so that it is fair and everyone gets what they need. Along with that, I teach them that if there is an emergency that involves their safety or the safety of someone else, they need to tell me. I tell them, if you see something dangerous, if you see a dangerous situation, you need to report it to someone. It is not tattling. It is reporting, and it is a brave and noble thing to do. I say to them, you need to raise your hand and let me know, because it is my job to keep you all safe. So, I ask you now, do any of you know of an unsafe situation you need to report? Please, let's do the right thing.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Christian Pearson, followed by Dana Vera, and our last speaker, Daniel Suter.
One second. I am nervous as heck up here. I am much more comfortable working with the children than being up here talking to you. I apologize. Pleasure. Thank you, Superintendent Bonda and board. My name is Christian Pearson. I'm a parent of a 2nd grader at Arbor Heights. We recently moved here this summer, and actually I've been wanting to write a letter to the superintendent and to the board to tell you my experience of coming here this summer and trying to get through all of the bureaucratic maze of getting our son into school. I've been down to this building several times, and each time I've been down here, I have been treated like it was a very small school district. And every time I've been in here, I've told the people, the staff, you've been wonderful for everything that you've done. Thank you for treating me as an individual and not some number. And it was just a big surprise, because I knew Seattle School District is a huge, pretty good-sized district. But then my son tested in the spectrum, so I had to come back down here to figure out what to do next. And we found out that we're going to enroll him in Arbor Heights. And these are fabulous, fabulous teachers, staff, parents, rockin' principal, and all of a sudden I find out about the building. My background is architecture. The first thing I found out when I was at the School of Architecture at Washington State University is safety, welfare, and health for the people with the buildings that we provide. And this building is way past due to be replaced. Please help Arbor Heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson, and thank you for those kind words for our hardworking staff down here at the John Stanford Center. Dana Vera. And first on our wait list is Daniel Suter.
Hi. Good evening, Superintendent Bonda. Good evening, board. I'm here again. I was here 4 years ago during school closure for Arbor Heights, And I'm here today as both an Arbor Heights resident, but also as a parent of all of West Seattle. I have a child at Denny, and now I have a child at STEM. And what astounds me again and again is the lack of planning for West Seattle. Decisions are made. We talked about it at a STEM meeting, and I loved the description. A parent said, it feels like they're playing whack-a-mole with our community. A problem comes up, and you smack it down, and 8 more problems come up. You know, when you talk about rebuilding Arbor Heights, there's no question in my mind that that should be number 1. But instead, I hear that you're planning on rebuilding Schmitz Park, and that's going to work out great because the kids can stay at Schmitz Park and you can rebuild Genesee. And my mind says, well, when you move them to Genesee, what are you going to do with Schmitz Park? And then I hear that you're building Fairmont Park, but you haven't made a decision yet whether you're going to put STEM there. Last year, a group of wonderful people, of which none of are here anymore, came to talk to us about how committed they were to West Seattle. Not one of them is here anymore. They talked to us about how they were going to build this wonderful STEM school, and we should send our children there, and it was going to alleviate the crowding in the north part of West Seattle. Hardly any children came from the north part of West Seattle, which, with a little planning, that would have been clear, because they're not going to leave seats for an experiment so that they can go to a school that may or may not work out. So all of the south end went, and Arbor Heights lost 35 kindergartners. And they're at STEM. And when I was here for Arbor Heights when they were closing a few years ago, 6 kids from Arbor Heights went to Pathfinder. You know the number better than me, but I think it's somewhere like 60 now. I want to see a plan for West Seattle. I mean, clearly Arbor Heights needs to be first. STEM needs to have a home. We don't have any idea where we're going, and neither do you. You have seen fantastic families and parents from West Seattle. Please include us in the plan. Please show us that you have a plan for where we're going so that we're not just whacking holes. I hope you take the time. And how about that $5 million that you're going to spend on downtown? Could we use that for planning for West Seattle?
Thank you.